Hey guys, in today's tutorial I'll be teaching you how to make a Thai tea boba pot with a cacti plant. So these are my Christmas gifts for my friends this year. I'm really excited about this one. I'm not sure when it's going up yet because some of my friends do follow me, so I don't want them to see what they're getting for Christmas. But if you're interested in making one of these, I'll let you know what you'll need in the next couple of clips. For this project, you will need a 2-inch clay pot. I purchased mine on Joann's, so I did do an online order for in-store pickup because when you do that, you can usually get 20 to 25% off. Also, these are usually about 30% off online, but if you do get them in stores, they will run you about $1.09 for one. For the base of this pot, I did use an acrylic paint in the color Mango, and this pot is already orange, so this is the natural color of the pot. I did do one layer of this orange already, but you don't have to paint it this color if you don't want to, but I am going for the Thai tea look, so I did use an orange, but feel free to use any other color you like. For the eyes, mouth, and boba, I did use some black paint. I already had the other two paints that I previously showed you, but I did need to pick up two more. So I did find these at Joann's and they were only about like 50 cents for each one of these. So I did get a white so I can make the eyes and the shading for the boba. And then I used this pink one for the blush. I don't know the names of these, but it's just a pink and white. To paint the base and the lid, I did use these two foam brushes, and then for everything else, I did use this dotting tool. So this is from my nail kit, and I did use this larger side for the eyes, the boba, and I used a smaller side for the eyelashes and the mouth. If you have a finer tip brush, that will probably be better for the mouth and eyelashes, but this is all I have. For my cactus, I'll be using the Big Twist yarn in the color light green, and this is a weight of 4 yarn. For the bottom of my cactus, I will be using this brown yarn. This is the Red Heart Super Saver. I don't remember the name of this yarn, but it is just a dark brown, and this one is also a weight of 4. For the flower, I am just using my scrap pieces of yarn, so I don't remember the name or the color of this, but it is just a regular blue, and it is also a weight of 4 yarn. I'll also be using a 4mm crochet hook, a stitch marker, scissors, and a glue gun. Last but not least, you will need some stuffing. I almost forgot, but you will need a threading needle for yarn, and then last minute I did put a face on the cacti, so you will need some thread, or you can use black yarn. And then I did use 7mm safety eyes. If you don't have 7mm, you can use anything else. It'll just look a little bit different than the one that I have, but I did use 7mm. We're going to start off by painting our pots, so what I'm going to do is take my orange paint and paint this base layer of the bottom of my pot. You do need about 2 to 3 layers depending on which paint you choose, so I do already have about 2 coats on here, so I'm going to paint my 3rd layer right now. So I just finished my 3rd layer, and it looks like I actually have to go in with one more, so I'll have to wait for this to dry, and when I lay it down, I just lay it down flat. But I do have other pots prepped, so I'll go on to the next step. Once your base layer is dried, you can now paint the lid. So for the lid, you can use any color you want. I have most of mine painted white, so for this one I am going to go in with the pink from Joann's. I'll probably need another 2 to 3 layers, but I'll go ahead and start off with my first. Okay, so I do also go into the top portion of the pot, and I just paint that as well, because you can see this part at the end. But if you go any lower, it's honestly going to be covered by the crochet project. So I just paint only this top rim. Now that I'm finished with my first layer, I will have to wait for this to fully dry to paint the 2nd and 3rd coat. So I'm just going to set this aside and bring out my other pots. So I do have all of these pots pre-prepped because if I actually waited for it to fully dry, this video would take forever. But this next one is a blue lid, and now we're just going to paint the eyes on this guy. So I'm going to take my black paint and I just open it up. And I just dip my paint because it's, we're doing the eyes. But for this, we're going to start off with our bigger side of the dotting tool. Is this the bigger side? yeah, so this side, and then we're just going to do the eyes. And for this part, I can't talk because I am the worst at painting, so I need to really focus, and honestly it's still not going to look good when I focus. So let me just paint the eyes really quick, and then you're going to see what it looks like. So I'm just going to dip in. Oops, too much. Okay, so you saw what I just did. I just dipped this in the paint and then I made a circular motion to do the eyes. So if you do have a different tool, you can go ahead and feel free to use that. But this is all I had. And I feel like, you know, it's decent enough, especially for this pot since it is only 2 inches. So I'm now going to do the other eye and then I will be back. So these are what the eyes look like, and I just made it like a tiny bit bigger. But now we're going to work on the boba, and you just want to hold it carefully so you don't touch the eyes. But for the boba, we're still using the same side. Well, if you're using the same dotting tool I am. And then we're just going to create little bobas. So I lost all of my audio after this point, but basically for the boba, I like to make them a little bit smaller than the eyes, and I also like to alternate the sizes. So the next one here is just going to be a tiny bit smaller than the first one I made, and I also like to alternate the placement. So right now you can see the boba is at the bottom of the pot, but the next one I'm just going to make it a tiny bit higher, and then I'll just keep alternating this as I go around the pot. Alright, while I'm painting this boba, let me tell you guys what happened. So I had over an hour's worth of video footage already edited onto iMovie. The only thing I couldn't do was save everything, and I couldn't even directly upload it to YouTube. So I wanted to save all of my stuff to a USB, but that didn't work either. So I had to delete all of my photos and videos on my phone, and then it still wouldn't save. So I had to cut this video, and I did this painting portion, and then I did a separate one for crocheting. But when I went to the crocheting video, I spent like over 6 hours uploading that to YouTube. And then I go back to listen to it and the audio cuts off during the near the end of the video. And so what I had to do was delete that, and then I had to cut that video in half and do a part 3. And then it finally worked, but then I was kind of like suspicious, like why would that happen out of nowhere? So I go back to this video and then the audio cuts off during the second half again, but all of this footage was deleted. So what I had to do was I screen recorded my own video. This video is already on private, and then now I'm just doing the voiceover for it, but it was really stressful doing this. I was like, do I even need to post this? Does it even matter? But you know, I'm just doing my voiceover now, and yeah, that's my story about this video. Okay, now that I got that out of my system, what I'm going to do now is I have a napkin just in case I mess up, but I'm going to take the smaller side of my dotting tool and I'm going to paint on the mouth. So I try to show most of this on camera, but I did fix it up off of camera. So what I'm going to do is just create a little bit of a U, and I do shake a lot, so I had to do it like one side at a time. So I'm just starting at the left right now, and I'm going to create a little curve, and then I'll create a curve on the other side, and then I'm going to fix it off of camera. Once I'm done painting on the mouth, I'm now moving on to the eyelashes. So I'm taking the smaller side of the dotting tool once again, and I'm just doing 3 little lines on the side of the eye. So for this, it would be better if you do have a finer tip brush, but this is all I had, so I'm trying to make it look as nice as I can. It's also not going to come out even because I'm not a painter. I'm just trying to do as best as I can. I still think it looks cute, but again, if you have a finer tip brush, use that instead. Now I'm just going to set this pot aside so it can dry, and I'm going to take one of my other pots that are pre-prepped, and then I'm just going to take some white paint and I'm going to create the eye, and I'm doing the shading for the boba. With my white paint, I'm just going to take my smaller side of the dotting tool and I'm creating the pupil, and I'm making it a little bit higher up. You can place it wherever you want, but I'm just going to place mine a little bit higher up, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. When I did paint the other side, I felt like I put it too close to the corner, so if I could fix it, I would definitely put it a little bit more on the outside, but remember, you can place the white anywhere you like. Once I finish painting the pupils, I'm just taking more of that white paint and I'm going to create the shading for the boba. So what I'm going to do is place the white on the bigger size boba and some of the medium ones. You can place it on the smaller ones as well, but I feel like it might be a little bit harder. If you had a smaller brush, it would probably be easier for you. But I'm going to alternate the placement, and I'm just taking the little dotting tool and placing a little white stripe on it. And then I like to alternate where it is as well. So you can see the first one I did on the bottom, I'm going to put some on the top, and I'm just going to do that all the way around until I finish. I don't paint all of them because I feel like if I did, it might look a little bit weird, but I'm mainly focusing on the bigger size bobas. The last thing I'm doing is just taking the smaller side of my dotting tool and some pink paint so I can create some blush, and then I'll be done with this pot. So if you're just here for the pot, thank you so much for watching, but if you wanted to follow the full tutorial, I'll see you in part 2. Remember, there is no intro for part 2, but we will be focusing on the cactus base.